You wanted me to do an up-close tour of my airplane setup, so here it is. This entire thing was built in 2017 and took a few hours. But as you can imagine, it probably wasn't too hard to do. I'm gonna show you every single component that I used in this setup and leave the links in descriptions just in case you want to buy each thing individually for your airplane setup. We are going to start with the thing that powers this entire thing, which is an Alienware Desktop. More specifically, it's an Alienware Aurora R6, which is actually a couple of years old, but since I kept upgrading it, it's actually holding up very well. The specs of this tower computer are the following: Intel Core i7-7700HK coupled with NVIDIA GTX Titan X Pascal Edition, which actually came with the Alienware. I haven't had time to upgrade that yet, unfortunately. I was thinking of buying an RTX 2080, but then when I compared the two graphics cards between the one I have and the RTX 2080, I came to the decision to keep the Titan. We've got 64 gigabytes of RAM, a 2 terabyte hard drive, as well as a 512 gigabyte SSD. So that is the storage that this computer packs. It's also got liquid cooling. Now, since this was bought a couple of years ago, I can't remember the exact price, but this thing alone was around $2,000. You can see that the cable management is not the best, but I don't really care. Due to all of my aviation gear, almost all of the USB ports are occupied, which comes to me as a surprise because this thing packs a whopping 13 USB ports. So that concludes the overview of the heart of this entire system. Now we're gonna move on to the monitor, because you've probably noticed that I've got 3 monitors over here sitting, and I've got an ultra-wide right over here. That is because recently I upgraded to an ultra-wide, because I've been using triple monitor setup, but they were all 4K. And surprisingly, this computer could not power them all at 4K while running X-Plane 11 at max settings. The monitors I used to use before are 3 28-inch Samsung 4K monitors, which served their life pretty decent, but last year I thought it was time to upgrade. The replacement is an ultra-wide 21:9 1440p 34-inch 120Hz Alienware display, which is a little too small for my taste, but it works, which is the most important part. Now we're gonna move on to the Yoke. This is a Logitech G Pro Flight Yoke system, which has been working wonders for me. Even after 2.5 years of use, it still holds up very nice. A cool bonus about this thing is that it packs a few USB ports on the back, which come in very handy because it came coupled with the throttle quadrant. This is the Logitech G Pro Flight throttle quadrant. Unfortunately, the leftist throttle was whacked by my hand when I was playing VR, so that's quite unfortunate. So that's why I don't fly triple-engined aircraft anymore. Now I can only fly 2-engined aircraft, but that's okay since most of our real-life airplanes are moving toward twin engines. At the bottom, we've got the Logitech G Pro Flight rudder pedals, which are used to steer the nose of the aircraft as well as the rudder. On top of the Yoke, we've got the Logitech Flight multi-panel, which has auto throttle, pitch trim, flaps control, and some other autopilot thing that I don't know the name of. To the right of that is the Logitech instrument panel, which houses the engine start, the master switch, landing gear lever, as well as light switches. To the left of that is a conveniently placed Logitech radio panel that helps me communicate with ATC, or at least pretend to, because I don't have X-Plane multiplayer. And the little display over there, I forgot the name of it, but it helps me know my speed and my altitude. The speakers are just bass pulse general speakers. I don't really like them, but they do a decent job of producing some nice engine roar while I'm taking off, especially the RB211 on the 757. The keyboard and mouse are both Razer wireless keyboard and mouse combo called the Razer Turret. That's actually pretty nice since you can just plug in a USB receiver right into the USB port and use them wirelessly. You do have to charge them though. This entire thing over here is a Volair Sim. Comes in with a huge box with this beautiful seat, as well as all the mounts, including these 2 mounts over here, and a VESA mount on the back, which fits pretty much any monitor. But I had some difficulty mounting one of these monitors, so these 2 things are bent upwards quite awkwardly, but I had to do that. This entire Volair Sim thing actually is pretty cool because it can fit pretty much any desktop PC and any monitor, so that is pretty decent. Oh, and this is a Blue Yeti, you probably noticed, and it's some arm from Amazon. I'll leave a link in description probably, but can't remember the name of it. So there you go, that's my entire setup as you can see. Let's test it out in action. And there we go, we are currently sitting inside a 737 Zibo in X-Plane 11. I had to turn down the settings to reach the maximum of 120 Hz refresh rate, so that's why it looks kinda bad outside, but that's okay. I can jump into my screen recording So here we go. We're gonna increase our throttles to about 50%. Flaps go down to 15%. Or no, not percent, degrees. Sorry. Actually, we don't need flaps 15. Let's do flaps 10 for this takeoff. And I've been holding the brakes this entire time. And here we go. Toga thrust. That awesome engine sound. Hold on to the yoke. 80 knots check. We should be hitting V1 in VR. Rotate. The gear should go up now. Trim a little bit because it tends to go down. We don't want to become a 737 Max. Reduce thrust. Oh, sorry, I forgot to show, but yeah. Reduce thrust a little bit, and there you go. Fantastic setup. I love it. Obviously, it's not for real training. It's just for fun, just to get that one step closer to flight simulation. Now, you probably noticed I have an HTC Vive, but I actually prefer the physical feel of the switches when I do cold and dark startups. So there you go. That would conclude my tour of my beautiful airplane setup. You can find a link of everything that I talked about today in the video description down below. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Let me know more ideas because I'm kind of running out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.